Hey Gary, nice to see a response from you. I got three things basically to say in response to your video, and if I don't hit on anything that you wanted me to hit on, let me know, and I'll shoot it in my next response. First of all, you accuse my word needs of implying of some kind of value that was neither explicitly stated nor demonstrated. And that might be, but I'm not making any claim to value here. I think we all ought to have values. I think we all have values inescapably. But my argument here doesn't make use of value. It doesn't make use of value. It just makes use of these axioms that I know you have issue with. So we'll try to tease apart the difficulty. At the same time, you did make I have to concede to you that I did miss some of what I was trying to hit with just the word desire. And so I will, or pardon, my word need. So I accept your word desire. But I would also offer this, that just desire doesn't hit all of the buttons either. I would suggest that both of these words are needed, and it's for this reason. Needs speaks to physiological needs. It speaks to the needs that an organism always actively pursues because it doesn't know how to do anything other than that. Desire would have to do with a person's psychology, to use language I've heard you use before. Desire is purely psychological. It can be in line with what the body physiologically needs, but it could also be counter to it. And it's in that I reject your idea of addictions, because unless I have a misunderstanding of the word, addiction is going to be something where a situation in which we are pursuing something that we want at an expense of our well-being. And so in that, it would be, say, the pursuit of desire rather, that is at the cost of our physiological needs. That's an addiction. But if we pursue a desire that's in line with our physiological needs, and when I say physiological needs, I mean the things the physiology needs to continue to survive, then I don't see that as an addiction. But perhaps I should, and perhaps I should accept your word there. I'm fine with the word desire. I would, however, like I said, give you both of those for physiological needs, psychological desire. Next thing. You talk about social contract theory, saying that what I'm arguing is just social contract theory, right? I would disagree on this point. Social contract theory has to do with two people coming together with a mutual agreement that they just sort of say, well, look, life is tough living by myself, let's work together. It's a little bit of compromise on my part. You know, I'm not going to get all of the meat out there in the wilderness. I'm not going to get all the berries out there on the bush, but I also won't have as great a risk of being left with nothing as well. And because, we're both rational people, we decide amongst ourselves to act in a particular sort of way. However, this is in terms of mutual agreement. What I'm trying to argue is something that is objective, that's something that exists in spite of people's agreement or disagreement with it. And it's for that reason that what I am arguing is not social contract theory. It might be in line with what social contract theory lends itself to. And like I said in the video, what I'm trying to argue will lead us to believe that it is wrong to steal, it's wrong to kill, and so on. But it is not on the basis of two people agreeing amongst each other. It would be on the basis, if I'm right again here, it would be on the basis of objective axioms. Finally, the last thing I want to make mention here is an issue I know you're particularly concerned about, and that has everything to do with animals. And so I need to come out just from the start and say I don't know how animals works into what I'm working with here. Let me see if I can explain this clearly. I say that a human being has what I'm calling physiological needs, and psychological desires that I now concede from you, from its merely being human. It's just part of the package of being a human being. You got these needs, you got these desires. And if we are to believe that we're all equally human, which we are, then we all have these desires and these needs. To say that someone's fulfillment of needs and desires has precedence over someone else's fulfillment of needs and desires is to assert a value, is to assert a statement of subjective value. Before we even accept a value statement, and before we even accept any system of values, we can say objectively that no one has any more value than anyone else, nor does anyone have any less value than anyone else, okay? Because in every situation there, you're going to need a system of values that is going to ultimately be subjectively demonstrated, and only subjectively demonstrated. And that's what I'm trying to avoid in this approach. Now, if that's true, then we can extend that to other life forms. I don't know if you think animals, non-human animals, have psychological desire or not, but I can be certain, and I think we both can be certain, that they have physiological needs. Now that's good enough for me to talk about humanity. But if it's the same then for, say, cows, chickens, whatever else that are normally eaten by man, then we have ourselves a problem. If we cannot compensate or arrest another person's pursuit of physiological need, then what right do we have to arrest the pursuit of a non-human's physiological needs? And the only way that I am able to offer an explanation to that is if indeed humanity is somehow qualitatively different, perhaps in the nature of man's ability to consider value, to consider right and wrong, not just in the context of how best to serve our own needs, but how to inductively come to things. It's like I'll leave you with this. Deduction is like knowing how to say something before knowing the answer to a question in reference to what you know how to say. Inductive reasoning is like knowing the answer before you know how to say it. I don't think animals, not one, anywhere, ever, not even Coco the gorilla that can do sign language, can do inductive reasoning. And I think that's very important because inductive reasoning will talk about or will imply the knowledge of something without the language to express it in. That's significant. Is it just unicorns? I imagine you'll think so. But that's where I stand, Gary, and I really appreciate your response.